You know what we are doing with the third way, with the nationalism, by opposition to the Quebec Liberal Party, which is a succursale of the Parti libéral du Canada, and we see that over the years. And after that, about Parti québécois not want to break Canada. We are able to work all together, and Quebecers want that.
Of course they want that. Yeah, that's why, in all the polling that we've seen for the past couple of years, the CAQ go lower and lower and lower, eventually resulting in, of course, the premier deciding he should resign. James Mennie over at the Montreal Gazette. Jim, that was Simon Jolin Barrette today. By the way, succoursale, that means a provincial Liberal Party or the what? The depot?
A branch plant.
The branch plant. Okay. What do you think?
No, well, listen, I hate to say it for our listeners, but get used to listening to every single CAQ politician, whether they're running for the leadership or just simply running for re-election, to try and, pull a Bobby Ewing in the shower, try to pretend the last 7 years didn't happen, try and pretend that, and we just heard Simon Jolin Barrette recycle the original lie that the CAQ said, we're neither liberals and we're neither, we don't want to break up. Of course you don't want to break up Canada. You're too busy extorting it. But the fact is, as I say, this government consists of separatists who are too cowardly to hold a referendum, as opposed to the facts, or at least are up in your face about a referendum. And this last statement about the federal Liberal Party, and we'll get to that in a second, but just let me say for the time being that it goes to show that Simon Jolin Barrette, like every other member of the CAQ caucus, and the apparatchiks of that party are so disconnected from what's going on in Quebec right now, it's not even funny. But that brings us, not even funny, it brings us to Bernard Drainville, who we know, and we've known Bernard for years when he was a PEC minister. He was the point man for the Charter of Values, who had, and I wasn't at the press conference today, or the scrum, but I presume he was saying this with a straight face when Drainville says that I think this government has been incredibly inclusive. I think our nationalism is inclusive. And when asked about the English-speaking community, because it was brought to his attention that there's some people, even within his own party, saying that, it might be a little more inclusive with Anglos. With regards to the English-speaking community, it's part of Quebec. I've been hearing this for 40 years. We're all part of Quebec until we're not. We're all part of Quebec until some, Journal de Montréal columnist says we're not, and whether it's the PECs or the CAQs, they jump on the bandwagon. But the fact of the matter is, whether it's Drainville, Jean Barrette, even that nice Christine Fréchette, expect to have the past ignored, expect to have the past rewritten, and everything's great. And look, what do you want? Do you want the PQ? Do you want to have the Liberals who are just a branch plant? Be very careful. No matter what political party you're with, even if you're a Quebec Liberal, be very careful before you open up your mouth about the federal Liberal Party today. I don't know if you took note of the Leger poll in the National Post of all places, Aaron. Hardly a hotbed of support for the federal Liberal government, but the poll has pointed out, and the poll is taken after the Davos speech and his trip to Beijing. And basically, 47% support for the federal Liberal Party nationally, compared with 38% for the Conservatives. But the thing is, what's happened in Quebec, and a lot of these gains apparently are at the expense of the NDP and the Bloc Québécois, and the Bloc Québécois has gone from 38% to 26% in Quebec, compared with 46% for the federal Liberals in Quebec. So you can see what's happening here, and it's so beautiful. Talk about slipping in it. You've got, on the one hand, you've got François Blanchet, who's the head of the Bloc, saying, this is ridiculous, and Carney's rewriting history with his speech, and blah, 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 blah. And then you also have the even more shrill Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, head of the PQ, apparently trying to turn Mark Carney into this evil, mustache-twirling Anglo villain who's the representation, the personification of colonialism and Quebec oppression, even though the people around him in the real world in Quebec are perceiving Prime Minister Carney as the single most popular politician, bar none, in the province. So I think we're headed for an interesting collision with reality. And as I've said earlier, I can't wait to see the next legislative poll in Quebec in terms of party support, because I really think that quite apart, I mean, the CAQ, as far as I'm concerned, stick a fork in it. It doesn't matter what they say or do. But as far as I'm concerned, certainly the Parti Québécois and its leader may well be in the process of talking themselves out of a job.
You know, to your point, so Christine Frechette, when she was speaking, there's a quote here suggesting as well, asked about relations with English-speaking Quebecers who have felt disenfranchised by the adoption of language like or legislation like Bill 96. She said, quote, I intend to have a discussion, a dialogue with English people in Quebec. They are part of Quebec. And I'm like, wow, Jim, congratulations to us all. We are part of Quebec, even as far as Christine Frechette is concerned.
You know, I used to know an editor who edited the letters to the editor page, and he had a saying. It was basically that, part of the policy was, thank you for your input. Yeah. Now shut up. So that's basically it.
Yeah.
That's basic. It's like, yeah. We'll have a dialogue. We'll have an input. We'll have this. We'll have that. The fact is, it's not that the emperor doesn't have any clothes. I mean, the emperor is homeless and without clothes. People know this. Even francophones know this. They know it's all garbage. They know it's all recycled rubbish. And what I find amazing, and I guess that's the backhanded positive that I'll give them, is the incredible cheek, whether you're a Péquiste or a CAQiste, to turn around. How stupid do you think the Quebec electorate, francophone and anglophone, are? How stupid do you think everyone around you who doesn't, work and earn a very great salary and an even better pension plan up in Quebec City is going to buy into your BS day after day when, as you began this segment, Aaron, pointing out that the CAQ is shaping up into the least popular government that perhaps Quebec has ever known. And as I say, I mentioned before, the Galon inquiry into the Saclic fiasco, that report is supposed to thump down next month. Believe me, that is going to have a huge blast radius, and we'll take a look and see whether they'll be able to weasel their way out of it. Because let's face it, up until now, in the past 7 years, the CAQ's basic policy is if anything goes wrong, blame immigrants or Anglos. Okay? This they can't blame on us. This they can't blame on immigrants, simply because everybody in charge of Saclic was a bon ami de la partie CAQ. So you know what? We'll see how that one plays out. But as I said, my own suspicion was, I think that, he can read a poll, but he was very adamant about hanging around. I think Francois Legault maybe someone tipped him a shove and said, listen, Francois, you might not want to be around.
Yeah.
Or you might not want to have to answer all them questions once that report drops. You can say, well, listen, ask the new leader, I can't, blah, 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 blah. And we'll see how that's going to play out. But and don't forget, the last I heard, I think UPAC was taking a look at that stuff too. So, this can get very, very kinky, very, very fast. And I absolutely assure you, Aaron, when that happens, suddenly you're going to hear a lot of CAQ ministers or a lot of CAQ leadership candidates suddenly discover they have nothing to say about the Anglo community. Because why? Because they have bigger fish to fry. But all that said, I think, as I say, it's all water off a duck's back. It's not going to help them. They are doomed as a party. And right now, there's no reason to think, for any reason whatsoever, that their fortunes, which have been projected by some poll aggregators as being literally wiped off the political map after October, I don't think that's changed at all. I think this party, the CAQ, is as big a danger of extinction as Quebec Solidaire, which is a delicious irony because they're at either end of the political spectrum. But as I say, get used to these outrageous, straight-faced comments, even though everybody knows that they're completely untrue.
To your point, Jim, about how stupid do you have to be, I will, of course, quote the late, great George Carlin, who said, never underestimate the stupidity of people in large groups. Same group that when the government sent them checks last time around said, hey, I got a check, I'm going to vote for them. So, I don't know.
Hey, listen, but you know what? Here's the other problem. They got no money. They can't hand out checks.
Well, there is that.
They've got no money. And once again, I don't think we've heard the last of the horror stories that are going to come out of our healthcare system. I don't think we've heard the last of the failures that are going to be coming out of our education system. So if you want to go ahead and talk about colonialism and British oppression, and the fact that the monarchy is not loved by the people of Quebec, Monsieur Saint-Pierre Plamondon, you go right on ahead, but don't blame me if you turn around and discover you're on a plummeting elevator on a race to the bottom with the cat.
Got to wonder what century he's living in to have brought that up, and wonder.
I don't know what the hell's going on. Because,
and wonder if the feedback that we've gotten since then will make him turn around and kind of drop this and move on to something else.
It's hard to say because you've said that there seems to be two of them. There's the one who comes on the show and he seems very irrational, and you look and what he's saying makes sense. And there's the one who just comes out of left field and with this absolute rubbish. Everyone knows it's rubbish. The only people who are buying into that, are in the solarium at a CHSLD out in the regions. Okay, but that's the thing. It's like, what are you playing at? Who is advising you, and who among you? And there's a few MNAs still in the PQ caucus who have got a lot of flight time. I can't believe that they're actually buying into this. I can't believe they're saying, way to go, boss, let's keep it up. If those guys have been around, it hasn't been by turning around and completely ignoring what's on people's minds front and center. And it ain't what Paul St. Pierre Plamondon is complaining about.
I will point out, I don't know if you saw Mark Miller yesterday in the House of Commons bringing up the Bonhomme Carnival situation.
No.
That was great. He used that line, about the cultural appropriation kind of threw it back in the Bloc's face. That was a lot of fun to watch.
Well, no, but I'm telling you straight up, okay? And this idea that, Carney is in this up to his neck. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows exactly what buttons to push, and Miller's the guy to do it. Miller's, I'd say, he's literally and figuratively a good soldier, and you can expect a lot more fun between now and certainly the provincial election. And who knows, if there is an early election, you're going to see a lot of fun. And I would, if nothing else, with these numbers today, I for one, I'm not buying into a spring election, but if it were to happen, this is a good time to do it.
James Mennie over at the Montreal Gazette. Thank you, Jim.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
or the free iHeartRadio app.